The decision to set foot in Africa is never merely a choice of destination. It is a life-altering event that fundamentally rewires your perception of the world. For some, this journey triggers a subtle awakening, while for others, it marks a permanent course change in how they view their own existence. The experience begins where the vast grasslands of the Maasai Mara and Serengeti sprint toward the horizon, merging with the sky in an infinite golden embrace. Deep in the Okavango Delta, the noise of humanity vanishes completely, replaced by a profound silence that forces you to listen to the earth breathe. The sheer scale of life here is humbling, from the massive herds of elephants to the unseen predators lurking in the shadows near Kruger. This tranquility is often deceptive, shattered in an instant by the resounding roar of a lion. A primal thunder that contrasts violently with the peaceful scenery. Yet the pulse of the continent also beats in its expanding cities, where glittering modern high-rises stand shoulder to shoulder with mysterious ancient structures. These architectural ancestors are not ruins but guardians, proving that no matter how modern the world becomes, tradition remains deeply ingrained in every wall and human consciousness. People here have strived to preserve these secrets for generations, ensuring that while the skylines change, the soul of the land remains untouched. The Maasai stand as arguably the most iconic tribal group in Africa, dominating the vast southern landscapes of Kenya surrounding the famous Maasai Mara. This nomadic warrior culture has retained its ancient traditions despite the pressures of the modern world, living largely untouched in the regions bordering the reserve. A standard safari itinerary often includes a 1-hour excursion to the fringes of the park, offering a brief but immersive glimpse into this unique way of life. Construction of their low-profile dwellings, known as maniatas, relies on a mixture of mud, cow dung, and wood to create sturdy huts with minimal windows. Clusters of these individual huts form a protective homestead called a boma, which can expand by joining with others to create larger community villages. The interior of a maniata remains dark, even at midday, due to the tiny windows, housing simple earthen stoves for cooking without the luxuries of electricity or running water. Arrival at the village triggers a traditional welcome ceremony where the air fills with rhythmic singing and the high jumping dance for which the warriors are famous. Visitors are encouraged to participate in these rituals before settling in, to learn about customary practices like fire making and intricate beadwork. Questions are welcomed inside the family homes, where guides act as interpreters to bridge the language gap between the tourists and the villagers. Handmade leather goods and colourful beaded jewellery are displayed for sale, offering a direct way to support the local artisans and take home a piece of their culture. The experience concludes with a walk or drive back to camp, often pausing for a sundowner as the silhouette of the village fades into the African twilight. Before we head to the next spot, here's a fun question. Who was the first democratically elected president of South Africa? Comment your answer. The thumping bass of Ugandan Afrobeats vibrates through the steering wheel. As the vehicle bounces along the rhythm of the rugged red dirt road. Towering rock formations rise from the earth like ancient totems, framing a scene. Where women in vibrant fabrics move gracefully alongside cattle with horns larger than a human body. Massive potholes demand constant vigilance, as one wrong move on this treacherous terrain could easily flip a van on its side. This journey leads deep into Karamoja, a region often described as Uganda's rough diamond due to its raw, unpolished beauty and lack of commercial tourism. Isolation defined this area for decades, leaving it tucked away at the volatile borders of South Sudan. And Kenya as a former no-go zone that once required special permits to enter. The landscape offers no luxury lodges or Instagram cafes, presenting instead a wild frontier of heat, dust and endless plains that feel like a trip back in time. A population of roughly 1.2 million calls this vast territory home, comprising distinct groups like the Dodoth and the Gie alongside the famous Karamoja community. If you're watching this, please click the subscribe button in the corner of the screen. It's completely free, but it means a lot to us. The Omo Valley is home to the Hema people, a distinct agro-pastoralist tribe that constitutes a mere 0.1% of Ethiopia's total population. This semi-nomadic community continues to thrive on their fertile ancestral lands. Within the southern nations, nationalities and peoples region, much as they have for generations. Centuries of history bind these Omotic people to the environment, creating a culture deeply rooted in the rhythms of the earth. Cattle serve as the central pillar of their existence, providing essential nutrition while simultaneously symbolizing wealth and social status. Agriculture complements this pastoral lifestyle on a smaller scale, relying on crops like sorghum and corn that are specifically adapted to the region's semi-arid climate. Life for the tribe functions as a permanent symbiosis with nature, demonstrating a deep ecological wisdom that allows them to flourish in a challenging environment. Rituals and social organisation reinforce this connection, emphasising land and livestock as the immutable pillars of their identity. Relative isolation has historically shielded their ancient traditions from the erosion of time. If you had the chance, would you like to live here for a few years? The thumping bass of Ugandan Afrobeats vibrates through the steering wheel as the vehicle bounces along the rhythm of the rugged red dirt road. Towering rock formations rise from the earth like ancient totems, framing a scene where women in vibrant fabrics move gracefully alongside cattle with horns larger than a human body. Massive potholes demand constant vigilance, as one wrong move on this treacherous terrain could easily flip a van on its side. This journey leads deep into Karamoja, a region often described as Uganda's rough diamond due to its raw, unpolished beauty and lack of commercial tourism. The third largest canyon in the world slices through the Mpumalanga landscape, creating a dramatic sanctuary officially known as the Motlatsa Canyon Provincial Nature Reserve. A vast expanse of 29,000 hectares stretches from the misty verdant highlands down to the hotter, drier Lowveld, surrounding the Blyde Dam. Proximity to the famous Kruger National Park allows travellers to easily combine exceptional game viewing with the visual splendour of this geological masterpiece. The Greater Drakensberg escarpment cradles iconic natural wonders such as the cylindrical Three Rondeveals, the towering Pinnacle Rock, and the breathtaking views from God's Window. Water erosion over millennia has carved the mesmerising Bourke's Luck potholes, a series of cylindrical rock sculptures that stand as a testament to nature's artistic power. Tarred roads from the picturesque village of Graskop provide easy access to these sites, ensuring that the dramatic scenery is reachable for visitors of all fitness levels. Adventure seekers can choose from an endless menu of adrenaline-pumping activities, ranging from whitewater rafting and abseiling to kloofing and hot air ballooning. Quieter moments are equally rewarding, with opportunities for fly fishing, boat trips on the dam. Springtime transforms the reserve into a colourful carpet of wildflowers, showcasing over 1,000 species of flora that includes several rare and endangered cycads. Which region are you curious about? Let us know in the comments. We'll see you there in the next video. The cobblestone streets of Cape Town's Bo-Kaap neighbourhood are instantly recognisable by their vibrant, flat-roofed houses painted in every shade of the rainbow. Modern popularity on social media often masks a history that is far more complex and turbulent than the cheerful facades suggest. Origins of this distinct community trace back to the 1760s, when the Dutch imported political exiles and skilled craftspeople as slaves from Malaysia, Indonesia, and India. History collectively labelled these diverse groups as Cape Malays, a vibrant, predominantly Muslim community that shaped the area's identity. The Orwell Mosque on Dorp Street stands as a testament to this resilience. Established in 1794 as the very first mosque in all of South Africa. Abolition of slavery in 1834 caused the population to swell significantly as newly emancipated families moved into the expanding neighbourhood. The apartheid era saw the area designated exclusively for coloured and Malay residents under the Group Areas Act, sparing it from the destruction that levelled nearby District 6. Architecture here blends Cape Dutch and Georgian styles, while the bright colours reportedly symbolise the freedom attained. When former slaves were finally allowed to paint their previously white-leased homes, recent years have brought the challenge of gentrification, threatening to drive out families who have called these streets home for centuries. Visitors are encouraged to support the local economy by choosing homestays owned by Cape Malay families rather than buying into displacing developments. Exploration of the area is best done on foot, ideally through a walking tour led by a local resident who can share the true soul of this heritage site. A historic treaty signed in 1999 between Botswana and South Africa established the continent's first Transfrontier conservation area, officially known as a peace park. Realisation of this cross-border dream had to wait until South Africa achieved democratic rule in 1994, with the massive reserve finally opening its doors in May 2002. This immense wilderness covers 37,000 square kilometres, functioning as a single protected entity jointly managed by both nations. Fences are entirely absent here, allowing wildlife to freely follow the ancient migration routes that are essential for survival in such an unforgiving desert environment. The modern park amalgamates South Africa's former Kalahari Gemsbok National Park, proclaimed in 1931, with the adjacent Gemsbok National Park in Botswana. Visuals of the landscape are defined by striking red sand dunes, sparse vegetation, and the iconic silhouette of camel thorn trees against the blue sky. Herds of gemsbok, springbok, and blue wildebeest congregate in the dry riverbeds. Their movements dictated strictly by the changing seasons. The legendary black mane lions watch these herds closely, sharing the hunting grounds with leopards, cheetahs, and both brown and spotted hyenas. Adventure seekers equipped with self-sufficient gear can tackle the Nosob 4x4 Eco Trail, an escorted 4-day journey that involves camping deep in the bush. Travellers planning to cross borders within the park must clear immigration. At the Twi Riviera post on the South African side, or Two Rivers in Botswana. Isolation characterises the location, usually requiring visitors to fly into Upington and drive for 3 to 4 hours to reach this remote corner of the Kalahari. If you've been here before, comment number 1. If not, comment number 7. The northern Atlantic coast of Angola cradles Luanda, the bustling administrative and cultural heart of the nation. Old fortresses stand in stark contrast to gleaming new economic zones, creating a skyline shaped by time, yet constantly moving forward. Colonial echoes linger in the streets, though the modern rhythm of the city now follows a distinctly different beat. Resilience defines the spirit of the population, visible not in grand statements, but in the quiet adaptation of spaces changing purpose. The national seat of government anchors the country's identity here, housing the Presidential Palace and the National Assembly where central ministries operate. Paradise-like beaches and a warm climate attract visitors to the lighter side of life in this coastal hub. Culinary culture thrives along the Ilha do Cabo, a sandy spit of land packed with vibrant restaurants and tropical seaside views. Avenida 4 de Fevereiro, locally known as the Marginal, offers the perfect route for a scenic stroll to admire the eclectic architecture lining the bay. Authentic handmade crafts draw shoppers to the Benfica market, where local artisans display their goods just south of the city centre. Global attention turns to the city every June when Angolan Fashion Week showcases the region's style to travellers from around the world. The ultimate bucket list adventure awaits in South Africa, where a safari offers the chance to witness nature in its most raw and magnificent form. Kruger National Park stands as the undisputed flagship of the country's reserves, offering an experience often rated as the finest on the continent. Scale is the defining feature here, with nearly 2 million hectares of wilderness, stretching for 352 kilometres along the Mozambique border, making the park larger than the entire nation of Israel. The Greater Kruger area enhances this vastness with a unique collection of luxury game lodges and private tours, designed to elevate the journey into something truly unforgettable. Wildlife diversity in this sanctuary is unparalleled, boasting density and sheer numbers that rival any other protected area on Earth. Africa's iconic species play out their daily dramas on this stage. Supported by a cast of 137 other mammal species and over 500 varieties of birds. Personal experience is the only true way to grasp the magnificence of the ecosystem, as no photograph can capture the feeling of the bush. June to September marks the prime window for visitation, as the dry winter months thin out the vegetation to reveal the animals hiding within. Late winter, specifically August and September, offers the perfect balance of warmer temperatures and high wildlife concentrations around the shrinking water sources. Visual spectacles include massive herds of antelope moving across the plains and crocodiles, basking on the riverbanks while hippos submerge themselves nearby. Soundscapes are just as memorable as the sights, from the eerie cackle of hyenas echoing, through the darkness to the bone-rattling roar of male lions asserting their dominance. The lifeblood of the Kgalagadi region is the Boteti River, a natural watercourse. That flows directly from the Okavango Delta via Mound's Tamalaka River. Geography dictates its path, forming the northwestern boundary of the Kgalagadi Ponds National Park, before ultimately emptying into the vast Ntwe Pond. This river serves as a magnetic focal point for thousands of animals, acting as the primary water source in an otherwise arid landscape. The massive zebra migration relies heavily on this corridor, as herds travel from as far north as Chobe to reach the nutrient-rich short grasses of the Pans. Human and wildlife territories blur along the banks, where national park land on one side faces community villages and grazing cattle on the other. Instinct, however, keeps most livestock away from the highest densities of wild game, likely due to the silent but deadly presence of lions in the area. Predators generally remain elusive during the day, preferring to sneak down to the water's edge under the cover of darkness to avoid conflict. A spectacular, yet often underrated wildlife event occurs here during the dry season, when the interior water sources completely evaporate. Tens of thousands of elephants are forced to congregate along the riverbanks, creating a density of life that rivals the more famous parks of Africa. History saw the riverbed run dry for nearly 30 years, until a miraculous return of flow in 2009 transformed the ecosystem entirely. Fluctuations in water levels continue to define the rhythm of survival here, with shrinking pools in low rainfall years serving as the final vital lifeline for the region's biodiversity. The red earth silhouette of Aït Benhaddou rises from the Unila Valley as the quintessential example of a traditional Moroccan tsar. This fortified village sits strategically on the ancient salt trade caravan route. It once linked the bustling markets of Marrakech with a vast expanse of the Sahara. UNESCO historians trace the site's origins to the 11th century, though the towering earthen structures visible today date mostly from the 1800s. Rammed earth, mud and clay bricks serve as the primary construction materials, creating a dense hillside cluster that perfectly embodies classic Berber architecture. Ornate geometric motifs of diamonds and triangles decorate the exterior walls, distinguishing this specific fortress from its neighbours even from a great distance. Structural ingenuity is evident in the high towers, which use heavy rammed earth for the foundations and lighter mud bricks for the upper levels to reduce the load. Thick walls and small windows provide essential insulation, offering a cool refuge from the scorching desert sun and retaining warmth during the freezing winters. The interior of the defensive perimeter contains a labyrinth of private Kasbahs, a community graveyard, and spaces originally designed for street vendors and livestock. Cinema has played a massive role in the village's global fame, as its biblical aesthetic has made it the preferred location for Hollywood blockbusters like Gladiator and Game of Thrones. Weather in the region varies drastically, shifting from pleasant, humidity-moderated days to the intense, searing heat of the high summer. June, July and August are the hottest times to explore, making the milder seasons the preferred choice for travellers wanting to wander the clay streets in comfort. The ancient sentinel of Rabat, the Udayas Kasbah, stands proudly at the mouth of the Bu-Regreg River, watching over the Atlantic coastline. Global recognition arrived in 2012 when UNESCO added this extraordinary citadel to the World Heritage List for its unique fusion of Moroccan and Andalusian artistry. The fortress traces its defining architecture back to the 12th century, specifically the reign of Almohad Caliph Abd al-Mumin, who constructed the citadel in 1150. History etched into these stone ramparts tells the story of the Udayas tribe, the garrison that gave the site its name after centuries of occupation. A mesmerising palette of blue and white defines the interior streets, creating a visual calm that contrasts sharply with the ochre exterior walls. The monumental Bab Odaya gate serves as the grand portal, welcoming travellers into a maze of narrow alleys that have sheltered Andalusian refugees and powerful sultans alike. The most distinct physiographic feature on Earth stretches across the African continent, as a massive scar visible even to the naked eye from the moon. This geological phenomenon, known as the Great Rift Valley, extends from the Red Sea down through East Africa and terminates at the southern tip of Mozambique. A deep fissure in the planet's crust runs along this length, filled with a chain of freshwater lakes and fringed by steep, forest-clad mountains. Glaciers, paradoxically, exist right on the equator within the towering Rwenzori Range, defying the tropical heat that dominates the lower elevations. Tectonic forces began this dramatic rifting process during the late Miocene era, roughly 25 to 30 million years ago, as the African plate started splitting into the Nubian and Somali plates. The physics of this separation involve the stretching and thinning of the Earth's lithosphere, allowing magma to rise and create the volcanic activity that defines the region. The resulting landscape encompasses every conceivable habitat, transitioning seamlessly. From scorching deserts and active volcanoes to deep water abysses and lowland rainforests. The vibrant pulse of Marrakech beats strongest in the Jama El Fna Square, a sensory explosion, where shimmering colours, oriental spices and travelling artists promise a complete change of scenery. Tradition comes alive within the ancient Medina, where visitors can explore the architectural richness of hidden riads. Those small oriental palaces centred around peaceful, tiled patios. Relaxation awaits just outside the chaos at the Menara Gardens. The Red City reveals a different face beyond its historic ramparts, immersing travellers in the modern districts of Dwelers and Hivenage. Wide, airy avenues here are lined with luxury boutiques and international fashion stores, showcasing the city's growing economic power and contemporary lifestyle. Cultural prestige is cemented by grand venues like the Palais des Congrès and the Royal Theatre, which host major events including the pivotal COP22 climate conference in 2016. Nightlife in Marrakech offers a dazzling spectrum of entertainment, ranging from traditional Moroccan evenings to trendy clubs that keep the energy high until dawn. A standard itinerary covers the main sites in 2 to 3 days, though extending the stay to 5 days allows for a slower pace to fully enjoy the riads or take a desert day trip. Cultural norms in this conservative country suggest modest attire, meaning both men and women should generally aim to cover their knees and shoulders while exploring. Flowy maxi dresses and shawls are ideal for women visiting religious sites, while men should note that upscale restaurants often enforce dress codes that prohibit casual footwear like flip-flops. The ancient heart of Pilanesberg is defined by the Pilanesberg alkaline ring complex, a massive volcanic structure that erupted over 1.2 billion years ago. Time has eroded this extinct giant into a striking landscape of concentric rings, hills, and valleys that rank among the most clearly defined geological formations of their kind on Earth. Ecological magic happens here because the park sits in a unique transitional zone between the arid Kalahari and the lush bushveld vegetation. This rare overlap allows distinct species from both biomes to thrive together, creating a biodiversity hotspot where desert-adapted creatures live alongside bushveld regulars. The famous Big Five all roam these reserves, sharing the territory, with cheetahs, brown hyenas, and the critically endangered African wild dog. Wildlife concentrations are exceptionally high due to historic restocking programs, ensuring that visitors encounter a wonderful array of animals even though vehicles are restricted to the marked roads. Families and health-conscious travellers find a major advantage in the fact that Pilanesberg is completely malaria-free, removing the need for medication and making the bush accessible to everyone. Optimal viewing occurs during the cooler hours of early morning and late afternoon, when predators are on the prowl and herds gather near the water sources before the heat sets in. Dithabaning Road offers a scenic journey through open savannas known for lion sightings, while the loop around Nungwi Dam serves as a central theatre for watching hippos and crocodiles. Moloto Drive takes a different character, winding through rocky hills that provide the perfect camouflage for elusive leopards and brown hyenas. Independent travellers often choose to self-drive thanks to the excellent signage, though guided safaris offer the distinct advantage of radio communication to locate harder-to-find species. Full-day excursions allow for a comprehensive experience, blending the thrill of the chase with quiet moments at stops, like the Fish Eagle picnic spot to gaze out over the timeless African bush. The vibrant capital of Kenya sits comfortably in the south-central region of the country, just 140 kilometres south of the equator. Geographic wonders frame the metropolis, with the eastern edge of the Great Rift Valley flanking one side and the scenic Ngong Hills rising to the west. Global recognition defines Nairobi as the safari capital of the world, a title earned. Because it is the only major city on Earth boasting a protected national park within its municipal boundaries. A sprawl of 113 square kilometres of plains, cliffs and forests makes up this urban wilderness, offering surreal views of giraffes and lions against a backdrop of modern city skyscrapers. Colonial authorities founded the settlement in 1898 as a humble rail depot on the Uganda-Kenya Railway, choosing the location for its cool water supply and temperate climate. Rapid expansion transformed the depot so quickly that it replaced the coastal city of Mombasa. As the colonial capital in 1907 and eventually became the capital of the independent republic in 1963. The modern metropolis now stands as the most populous city in East Africa, housing an estimated 3.5 million residents who contribute to its status as a diverse economic powerhouse. Culture thrives in this historical melting pot where architectural landmarks stand as testaments to the past and diverse Kenyan traditions blend into a unique urban energy. June to October marks the long dry season, offering the ideal window for tourists to explore the city and view game without the hindrance of rain. The short dry season between January and March provides a second excellent opportunity for travel, characterised by clear skies and comfortable exploration conditions. An elevation of 5,889 feet ensures that temperatures remain pleasantly mild throughout the year, making Nairobi a welcoming destination regardless of the calendar month. The flat-topped silhouette of Table Mountain stands as the undisputed guardian of Cape Town. Recognised instantly around the globe as South Africa's most famous landmark. This geological giant is far more than just a scenic backdrop, functioning as the heart of a protected national park. That stretches continuously from Signal Hill in the north to Cape Point in the south. Biodiversity flourishes on these slopes with unique fynbos vegetation and rare flora, making it a paradise for nature enthusiasts who want to explore beyond the tourist hotspots. Hikers looking for an active challenge can choose from over 350 distinct trails that crisscross the mountain, ranging from easy walks to strenuous climbs up the rock face. The famous aerial cableway offers a more leisurely ascent for those who prefer comfort, having safely transported over 22 million passengers since its grand opening in 1929. The modern ride is a spectacle in itself, taking just 5 minutes to reach the summit, while the circular cabin floor rotates a full 360 degrees to ensure every passenger enjoys a panoramic view. A delightful perk awaits visitors travelling during their birthday month, as the operator grants a complimentary ticket to celebrate the occasion high above the city. The upper cable station serves as a well-equipped base camp, featuring a restaurant with sweeping views, a curio shop for souvenirs, and a network of easy footpaths for exploring the plateau. The true summit, known as Maclear's Beacon, rises to 1,086 metres above sea level and requires a short walk from the station to officially stand on the mountain's highest point. From the top, every angle presents a visual masterpiece, from the dense city bowl and bustling harbour to the endless blue expanse of the Atlantic Ocean. The dramatic coastline of Cape Town is home to Chapman's Peak Drive, a 9-kilometre winding masterpiece that is widely regarded as one of the most scenic stretches of asphalt on the planet. Locals affectionately call this route Chappies, cherishing it as a gateway that connects the harbour of Hout Bay to the serene valley of Noordhoek. The journey itself is a visual feast featuring 114 distinct curves that force motorists to slow down and truly absorb the panoramic views of the deep blue Atlantic Ocean. Several lookout points allow travellers to pull over safely, offering vantage points up to 593 metres above sea level, where whales and dolphins are often spotted frolicking in the surf below. Troops of baboons frequently patrol these cliffs, curiously observing the passing cars. Though strict rules prohibit tourists from feeding these wild residents. History marks the origins of this engineering feat back to 1915, with the official opening presided over by Prince Arthur of Connaught after years of perilous construction. Safety concerns regarding rockfalls forced an intermittent closure for nearly a decade. But a massive civil engineering revamp ensured its permanent reopening in late 2009. Closures are now rare and occur only during severe wind or rainstorms to protect the public from the elements. The road's cinematic curves gained pop culture fame in the 1990s as the backdrop for the acclaimed BMW Beat the Bends commercial, cementing its status as a driver's paradise. Fitness enthusiasts also revere this pass as it forms a grueling but beautiful section of both the Cape Town Cycle Tour and the Two Oceans Marathon, drawing 35,000 cyclists annually. Hikers looking to avoid the toll fees can tackle the summit on foot via a clearly marked path, provided they carry enough water to handle the exposed, thirsty climb. The surreal landscape of Deadvlei lies deep within the Namib Naukluft Park, where dead trees stand like sentinels in a scene reminiscent of a Salvador Dali painting. The name itself translates literally to dead marsh, describing its isolation in a valley sandwiched between towering dune peaks. Geography here is defined by some of the tallest dunes in the world, which rise 1,312 feet to rival the height of the Empire State Building. Centuries ago, the Sorchab River flowed freely through this area, creating shallow pools that allowed a forest of camel thorn trees to flourish. Encroaching sand dunes eventually blocked the river's path, causing the water table to recede and the clay pan to bake into a cracked white surface. The skeletal remains of these camel thorn trees have stood here for nearly 700 years. Scorched black by the sun, yet preserved from decay by the extreme dryness. Visuals in this valley are defined by a stark, almost impossible contrast. Carbon black trunks against white clay, deep red sand, and a piercing blue sky. This alien environment creates the most beautiful dead place on Earth, boasting some of the clearest stargazing skies in the world after dark. A stroll across the pan reveals an overwhelming silence, allowing every step on the cracked earth to bring visitors closer to the heart of the desert. Travellers often climb the surrounding ridges to witness the sunrise, an experience that paints the white floor in gold and burns into memory forever. The winter months of May to September offer the best conditions for a visit, providing cool mornings and clear days perfect for photography. The iconic silhouette of Cape Town is defined by the three granite sentinels of Table Mountain, Devil's Peak, and the distinctive formation known as Lion's Head. Dutch settlers in the 17th century originally bestowed this name believing that the peak, when viewed alongside the adjacent Signal Hill, resembled a crouching lion gazing out toward the sea. Indigenous history reveals that the Khoisan people had previously called it Hura, or Mountain of the Sea, due to its dramatic proximity to the Atlantic Ocean. Strategic importance defined the mountain during the 18th and 19th centuries, as it formed a vital part of the city's defence system alongside Signal Hill, using flags and cannons to signal the arrival of ships. Tradition continues today with the firing of the noon gun, a loud ritual dating back to 1806 that still startles unsuspecting tourists in the city bowl below. The peak itself rises to 669 metres above sea level, offering a popular playground for both Western Cape locals and international visitors seeking the perfect panoramic shot. Accessibility is a major draw, as the trails are relatively manageable for anyone with basic fitness. Though strong winds and cloud cover can make the ascent dangerous. Hikers begin their journey with a fairly steep incline that eventually offers a choice between a level contour path or a more adventurous shortcut involving steel ladders and chains. Safety dictates that those uncomfortable with heights or hiking in the dark should stick to the contour route, especially during the popular evening climbs. A modern tradition sees hundreds of enthusiasts ascending the slopes during the full moon, carrying picnic baskets to celebrate the lunar spectacle from the summit. The reward at the top is an exquisite 360-degree view, where the sunset fades into the twinkling city lights and the vibrant energy of Cape Town comes alive below. The world's third highest capital city sits perched at a breathless 2,665 metres above sea level, wearing its heart on its sleeve since its foundation in 1892. Emperor Menelik chose this site not by accident, but for its bubbling natural springs and the vast potential for expansion into the surrounding highlands. Rapid growth defined the early 20th century as the royal family consolidated power and public institutions flocked to the burgeoning centre. Several crucial factors cemented its status as the permanent capital, beginning with the construction of a railway link to Djibouti that opened vital trade routes. Enormous prestige flowed into the city following the 1896 victory over Italian forces at the Battle of Adwa, attracting a diverse wave of international merchants. Survival of the growing metropolis was further ensured by the introduction of the fast-growing eucalyptus tree, which provided the necessary fuel to sustain the population. Modern Addis Ababa boasts a cityscape that transforms almost daily, with a rickety wooden scaffolding climbing toward the sky as a symbol of relentless development. Amharic serves as the predominant voice of the streets, though the cosmopolitan atmosphere ensures that English, French, Italian and Arabic are heard in equal measure. Historian Carlo Conti Rossini famously described Ethiopia as a rich cultural mosaic, a phrase that applies perfectly to the capital where every ethnic group in the country finds representation. A population of over 3.6 million people makes this the undisputed political and economic engine of the nation, driven by elites who shape its physical transformation. Rapid state-led growth has brought shiny infrastructure in recent decades. Yet the city continues to wrestle with complex challenges ranging from housing shortages to youth unemployment. The northernmost tip of Zanzibar is home to Nungwi, a historic village famous for the silhouette of traditional dhow boats sailing out for the night catch. Modern popularity has transformed this area into a bustling hub, often referred to by locals as Jumbo Square due to the influx of international travellers. Bungalows, lively bars and diving centres sit nestled among coconut palms. Yet the true essence of the village remains the simple joy of resting in a hammock with a cold drink. Fine white sand and crystal clear water define the coastline, which stretches for over 2 kilometres and offers a gentle descent into the sea. Geography grants this specific beach a rare advantage over the rest of the island, as the absence of dramatic tides ensures perfect swimming conditions all day long. Sunset transforms the horizon into a masterpiece, with the village's western orientation providing a front row seat to the sun dipping below the Indian Ocean. Travellers seeking the best conditions should plan their trip between January and March or June and October, when temperatures soar above 30 degrees Celsius and the rain disappears. The underwater world here offers a vibrant tapestry of marine life, inviting snorkelers and divers to explore the colourful coral gardens hidden just offshore. Lush vegetation and spectacular cliffs frame the soft sands, creating a picturesque setting that feels worlds away from the stress of modern life. A short walk away from the resort strip reveals a deeper side to the destination, where the secrets of local culture and tradition are waiting to be discovered. Village tours, cooking classes and Swahili cultural performances provide an authentic connection to the land, ensuring that a visit here is more than just a beach holiday. The moniker, the Friendly City, perfectly captures the welcoming spirit of Port Elizabeth. A coastal hub in the Eastern Cape, renowned for its hospitality and stunning geography. History traces the city's modern name to a melancholy moment in 1820, when the grieving British governor, Sir Ruthven Donkin, dedicated the settlement to his late wife, Elizabeth, who had died in India. The arrival of British settlers that same year marked the beginning of a major colonial expansion, transforming the area around Fort Frederick into a bustling magistracy by 1825. Civil engineering advanced significantly a century later with the construction of an artificial harbour, finally providing ships with a safe anchorage against the notorious coastal winds. Modern Port Elizabeth has since evolved into the engine room of the nation's motor manufacturing industry and the financial capital of the entire province. The ambitious development of the nearby Kruger industrial complex stands as the crown jewel of South Africa's public works, signalling a massive investment in the region's future. Geography places this urban centre roughly 770 kilometres east of Cape Town, where it anchors the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro alongside the towns of Uitenhage and Dispatch. Tourists flock here primarily for the 40 kilometres of coastline, which boasts a multitude of pristine blue flag beaches and some of the warmest waters in the country. Wildlife enthusiasts find a unique paradise here, as the region offers the rare opportunity to witness the Big Seven, adding the great white shark and humpback whale to the traditional terrestrial Big Five. The utter lack of malaria in the area makes nearby reserves, like the famous Addo Elephant National Park, accessible and safe for families year-round. The sheer immensity of the central Kalahari Game Reserve often overwhelms first-time visitors, presenting a landscape of wild, mysterious beauty that feels utterly endless. Waist-high golden grasses stretch toward the horizon in every direction, interrupted only by the occasional dwarf tree or scrub bush fighting for survival. Vast salt pans punctuate the terrain as blinding white stretches of pancake flat earth, merging seamlessly with the pale blue sky during the heat of the day. The night sky transforms this isolation into a spiritual experience, as the absence of light pollution allows the stars to dominate the heavens with terrifying brilliance. Geography ranks this sanctuary as the largest reserve in southern Africa, and the second largest on the planet, covering a staggering 52,800 square kilometres. Summer rains trigger a miraculous transformation in the northern reaches, turning the dusty plains into lush grazing grounds for massive herds of springbok, gemsbok and giraffe. History recalls the reserve's initial establishment in 1961 as a protected sanctuary for the San people. Intended to preserve their traditional way of life deep within the country's heart, recent government initiatives have slowly opened this remote wilderness to outsiders, introducing limited self-drive routes and fly-in lodges on the peripheries to diversify tourism. Deception Valley stands out as the primary attraction in the north, drawing dense concentrations of herbivores to its sweet grasses and, inevitably, the predators that hunt them. The green season from January to April offers the most dramatic visual changes, filling the dry pans with water and attracting migratory birds like the rare crimson-breasted shrike. Solitude seekers often prefer the dry season between May and October, when the vegetation thins out to reveal the stark, raw skeleton of the desert and makes wildlife spotting significantly easier. The vast rippling seas of pale yellow grass define the Serengeti, creating an endless horizon broken only by gnarled acacias and circling vultures. Africa's most famous game reserve brings nature documentaries to life, offering a raw reality that exceeds even the highest expectations. The Great Migration serves as the eternal heartbeat of the park, driving up to 2 million wildebeest to snake across the ecosystem in a relentless search for rain. A chaotic, braying column of animals stretches for over 40 kilometres, raising dust clouds as they survive dangerous river crossings to reach the verdant calving grounds. Resident predators thrive here year-round, with lions posing confidently in the open while leopards drape themselves elegantly over the branches of sausage trees. The dense acacia woodlands protect elusive creatures like the Kirk's dik-dik, offering a quiet contrast to the herds of elephants feeding on the park's fringes. October and November mark the ideal time to visit the eastern Namibia Plains, a former sanctuary famous for the high density of cheetahs often filmed in major nature documentaries. The southern plains of Ndutu take centre stage from December to March, hosting the dramatic spectacle of wildebeest mothers defending their wobbling newborns from hungry stalkers. Exploration is best conducted via guided game drives, which typically conclude with scenic sundowner drinks in the heart of the bush to soak in the atmosphere. The park's evocative name stems from the Maasai language, translating roughly to endless plains in a fitting nod to the overwhelming scale of the geography. Hot air balloon safaris offer the ultimate vantage point, lifting travellers silently into the sky to witness the magnitude of the ecosystem from an eagle's perspective. The scorching Gregory Rift in northern Tanzania cradles Lake Natron, a body of water that defies the typical definition of a sanctuary. This shallow basin sits ominously at the foot of Ol Doinyo Lengai, an active volcano revered by the Maasai people as the Mountain of God. The lake itself is surprisingly deceptively shallow, measuring less than 3 metres in depth even, as it stretches 57 kilometres across a landscape where temperatures regularly soar above 40 degrees Celsius. Intense evaporation in this arid climate leaves behind a concentrated cocktail of sodium and trona, creating a caustic environment where the alkalinity can spike to a pH of over 12. Specialised halophilic organisms and cyanobacteria thrive in this chemical soup, utilising red pigments for photosynthesis that dye the deep waters a startling blood red hue. Lighter shades of pink and orange paint the shallower margins and salt crusts, creating an alien palette that contrasts sharply against the surrounding scrubland of thorn trees. Global recognition of this unique ecosystem arrived in 2001, when the area was officially designated as a Ramsar wetland of international importance. Freshwater flows into the basin primarily from the Ewaso Ingiro River, originating in Kenya, along with the Engaresero and Pinyini rivers and various mineral-rich hot springs. This hostile environment paradoxically serves as the single most critical breeding ground on Earth for the lesser flamingo. Millions of these birds rely on the lake's toxic waters to protect their nests from predators, feeding on the algae in a delicate cycle of life. The survival of this near-threatened species depends entirely on the isolation of Natron, proving that life can flourish even in the most inhospitable valleys on the planet. The world's tallest freestanding mountain commands the horizon, presenting a profile that is simultaneously beautiful, dangerous, and haunting in its sheer grandeur. Mount Kilimanjaro National Park stands as the definitive symbol of East African beauty, sheltering the highest point on the entire continent. Linguistic origins of the name remain shrouded in mystery, with scholars debating whether it combines the Swahili Kilima for small hill with Njaro for white or shining. Ancient legends of the Chaga people once feared these slopes as the dwelling place of man-eating spirits, though the mountain is now revered as the region's most vital source of water and fertile soil. Geologists classify the giant as a dormant volcano composed of 3 distinct cones: the rugged Mwenzi, the plateaued Shira, and the central snow-capped Kibo. This colossal formation rises approximately 4,900 metres from its base to a breathtaking 5,895 metres above sea level, securing its status as one of the coveted 7 summits. Adventurous travellers flock here annually to undertake a climbing challenge that is famously physical, exhausting, and fraught with the risks of high altitude. The final push to Uhuru Peak demands absolute resilience. That is famously physical, exhausting, and fraught with the risks of high altitude. Optimal trekking conditions typically align with the dry seasons of January and February, as well as the window between August and September. Solitude seekers might prefer the shoulder months of March and October, though these periods carry a higher risk of early rains and slippery trails. Nature ultimately holds the final card, as lingering clouds or sudden storms can sometimes obscure the view, or render a summit attempt impossible regardless of preparation. Morocco's 4 imperial cities find their crown jewel in Fez, the oldest and most impressive of the historic capitals. History traces the city's origins back to 789 AD, when Idris founded what would become a vital global centre of trade and learning. The Marinid dynasty presided over a golden age in the 13th and 14th centuries, constructing the iconic colleges, palaces and mosques that still define the skyline today. UNESCO recognition protects the ancient Medina known as Fez el Bali, which houses the oldest continuously operating university in the world. A wonderland of sensory experiences awaits within the medieval walls, where labyrinthine streets overflow with local artisans, ornate fountains, and the steam of traditional hammams. The French-built Ville Nouvelle stands in stark contrast just outside the old walls, offering wide boulevards and modern traffic instead of the pedestrian-only alleys of the historic core. Exploration of the Medina must be done entirely on foot, as the narrow, winding paths remain strictly off-limits to vehicles. Small red pedal taxis provide transportation outside the walls, though visitors should always ensure the meter is running or agree on a fare beforehand. Porters with carts are available to haul luggage through the car-free zones, provided the traveller is prepared to offer a tip for the heavy lifting. Tourists must stay vigilant against unsolicited advice, as friendly offers to guide you often end in demands for money or forced detours to high-pressure shops. Claims that specific attractions are closed are a common scam used to divert visitors, so independent verification is always the best policy. Travelling across Africa is a journey through vast landscapes, ancient cultures, and powerful stories that shape the soul of the continent. From sweeping savannas to lively cities, each destination reveals a rhythm of life deeply connected to nature and tradition. The warmth, resilience, and diversity of its people leave lasting impressions on every traveller. Africa's wildlife, history and natural wonders create moments that feel both humbling and unforgettable. In the end, Africa is not just a place to visit, but an experience that changes how you see the world.